Hi everybody. So for this example, we're going to be putting together another worksheet, but I'm going to show what it's going to look like when we get done with it. So this is what we're going to end up seeing here. Okay, so this is what we're going to be putting together. What's kind of interesting about this particular worksheet, what we're doing is we're taking all of the companies that we sell to, and we're looking at the last 5 years of sales from 21, 22, 23, 24, and 2025. All right. What we want to be able to do is look at each of the years and compare them in pairs to see how much of a percentage change they went up or down. So, for instance, with consolidated holdings between 2021 and 2022, their sales went up 57%. Between 2022 and 2023, their sales went down by 14%. From 2023 to 2024, they went up 61%, and then 24 to 25, they went up 87%. So this is a very popular kind of comparison that's done in business, because as a lot of you probably know, the big question is comparing. How well did we do compared to last year? How worse did we do? It's always a comparison with improving or falling behind. So this is a good measurement right here as far as this worksheet goes. So you're actually going to learn a new formula. I mean, one that I'm probably sure if you've been watching all these videos, probably you've never even done before, but you've probably seen other worksheets that have the similar calculation in them to give us these percentage changes here that you see there. So that's what we're going to be doing with this. All right, so I'm just going to go over to my other blank worksheet here, and we're basically going to create this here. Okay, so we're going to start out first of all. I'm just going to put at the very top here my title. So I'll go ahead and I'll type that in first. This is why you wouldn't want to be sitting there watching me type this whole thing in. That's why we kind of speed it up from time to time here. Okay, that's about the longest you'll ever watch me do something here. Okay, so we got that in there. I'm going to go ahead and put a little heading in here called company. And then we'll go ahead and put our first company in here. So I'm going to type in consolidated holdings, just like that. Now, I've got a number of other companies to put in there, but I don't think that you want to sit there watching me type them in. So with the magic of video, and voila, there's the rest of them. Pretty fast typing, huh? All right, the other thing I want to do before we go any further here, I'm going to put a blank column here at column A. So I'm just going to go ahead on A, right click it, hit insert, that'll move it all over, and I'll pull this back a little bit. All right, so there that goes. And the other thing I want to do here is I want to make sure that the font is the Courier New. I haven't really talked about this in the past videos, but my preference to font is the Courier New. I think it's a nice, clean, killer looking font. It's non-proportional, so things line up a lot better using it. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to select the whole sheet just like that, just using my select all there. I'm going to go up to here, and I'm going to change this then to the Courier New, which is this one right there. And that pretty much will convert the whole worksheet into that font. So I'll do that. And then I'm going to go ahead and make column B wider so that we can fit all these in there, because we're going to be putting stuff into here, and that stuff's going to get cut off and kind of throw us off a little bit. Okay, now I want to put my headings in for my numbers. So I'm going to go here to C. I'm going to type in 2021. Go over to the right here. This will be 2022 and 2023, 2024, and then 2025. All right, so that's about as far as we're going to go with that. All right. Now we need to go ahead and plug in the numbers for the sales for each of these companies for these years. See, so as I said in the past videos, you get your labels in first, and then once you've got your labels in, then you know exactly what numbers you need and where you need to put them. So the first number I'm going to be putting in there is going to be 11816, entered in, 18548. And I know you're sitting there saying, Chip, we're not going to have to sit through you typing in all these numbers. And I say, you won't. I think all of you by now have an idea of how to plug in your numbers. You just type them in, there it goes, right? So by the magic of video, and voila, there we go. So there's our numbers that you didn't have to watch me type in. And now what we need to do is put in the columns that are going to measure our percentage of change. So what we saw over here, these guys right here, we need to put those in now, okay? And then I actually put the formulas in too. So when we look at the difference between 2021 and 2022, we want to show that percentage change in this column here. So we're going to go over here, right-click column E, hit Insert, all right? We'll do the same thing over here, right-click, Insert, and then right-click, Insert. Okay, and then what we'll do here, we'll put in there maybe percentage, and then CHG, all right? And then percentage CHG, and another one. Oh. All right, there we go. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and put the calculation in that'll do that measurement. So we're going to go over here to this cell, all right, which is going to be the one for comparing 21 to 2022. The way we do this, and you know, I know you guys are, this is like the first round of videos that you're kind of watching here for Excel. We haven't really done a lot with formulas. We do a lot more in module number 4 and module 5 of the videos for Excel. Just a ton of stuff that you can do, and this is actually one of them in there as far as the this calculation goes. So don't freak out. It's a pretty easy thing to do here. If you've ever done it by hand, it's not going to be much different, you know, putting it in as a calculation. So here at E3, what we're going to do is we're going to type in equal, and we do that for any time that we put a formula in. We're going to put a left parenthesis in there, all right? And we're in essence going to basically say we want to take the newest of the two numbers, all right, minus the older one, all right? And then we close off the parenthesis and we divide it by the old one. So it's basically like the new minus old divided by the old. We enter that in, and we get some sort of a decimal value. Well, this value is 0.57 or 57% in essence. So it looks like when we went from 11,000 to 18,000, we're up 57%, which is very, very accurate. So we'll take that and we can copy that all the way down. We can either drag it like that, or what you can do is you can point to here and just double click it, and that will do the same thing. So that's pretty good. All right, let's try this again now. So we have to do this calculation a few more times here. So we'll take it here now. This is a little bit different because we're going to have a little bit more space in here. So we're going to say equal, okay, left parenthesis, and we're going to say, okay, take the newest number. Well, that's going to be 2023, right, minus the 2022 number, see? Close off that parenthesis, and then divide it by the old number, see? So new minus old divided by old. Enter that in. We can then take that one and copy it down. Now, because we have it this way, where we had done taking this one and this one into account, if we were to take this formula and copy it over here, it'll change to where it's comparing these two, all right? So we can actually copy this. We can just do a right click on it, hit copy, go over to here, right click it, and hit paste. Go over to here, right click it, and hit paste. You don't have to select anything going down. It just knows that it's going to do this whole range over there. So now you can see it changed. So on this one, it's F and D, right? On this one here, it's H and F and F. And over here, it's J and H, right? Then you can just hit the escape key to get rid of those ants running around there. And there we go. So now all we have to really do is worry about just formatting this so we can kind of read it. So I'll start out with just the whole numbers here first. So I'll select this range right here. And I can save some time by holding down the control key and selecting this range, selecting that range, and then that one there, see? So take all those, then I can go back up here, hit the comma, and then remove the decimal places, and I've got that. Now, the problem that I have with this type of format where I use the accounting format, or the accounting comma format, I should say, is that it gives me a little margin on the right-hand side, and it doesn't allow me to center the numbers. So I can't go in here and hit the center button to get them centered. They'll stay stuck in there. So an alternative to using the comma format, the accounting style format here, is to go, while you got these selected, go into the dialog box, right? And go, instead of using this custom one that we have here, we're going to go with the number. We're still going to want, comma separator for the thousands, and we don't want any decimal places. We hit OK on that, all right? And it doesn't seem like it looks much different, but it'll allow it to be centered. In other words, we can go back in there later on, hit the little center button, and it will center them. If we had done that with the previous format, they wouldn't have moved over. So I'll show that to you. Now, the other ones we have here are the percentage, or the decimals here, that we want to convert into percentages. So we select the first range, control key, do the next one, and the next one, and the next one, right? And now in this one, we can just hit the percentage there. And that is not really an accounting percentage, it's just a percentage, right? Now, it's going to be lined up on the right-hand side. Now, we can make sure that it's lined up on the right-hand side by doing this, and it's going to stay on the right-hand side. But the main thing here is that I want to eventually get these things centered, all right? Now, what I can do is I can use the indent. And right now, these, if you know anything about indent will push things to the right. Well, none of these can get pushed any further to the right. So what's really cool about this is that if they're all the way to the far right, and you push them further, look what happens. I click it one time here, they bounce off. So it looks like they're still lined up on the right-hand side, which they are, but now they're pushed over a little bit. So I almost get the visualization of them being lined up on the right-hand side to look nice, and almost being centered, all right? If you need to do it one more time, you can bring it over like that and bring it over like that. I'm gonna leave it there, okay? And then we'll see if we need to move it later on. So there we go on that. Now that we've got everything all nicely formatted in that area, we can actually now think about another thing to do here, and that would be working with our title. So we'll take the title, select that whole range, right? And we'll do a merge and center. That way it gets centered over the whole thing here. We'll make it bold, and we'll make it a little bit bigger just to get it started out here. There it goes. And we can even go as far as going in and changing the color to maybe a blue of some sort, something like that. Oh, I lost it. I'm going to do that there. Okay, go back there again. Go with the blue. There we go. All right. Now, next thing, let's select the whole worksheet. We'll double click the border and get everything all just right. Now I'll get the labels up here centered, so I'll select that. I'll make that bold, and I'll center them like that. And there's my numbers. Now I'm looking at the numbers now, and it looks like maybe I really didn't really need to push them over. So maybe what I'll do is I'll take these and I'll hit the center button, and it kind of moves them over a little bit. But I'll also get rid of that. I don't know if I indented those or not. I think I did. So I'm going to pull the indent back a little bit, or bring it in a little bit, and that kind of pushes it over. So I'll take this one here, and actually I'll select them all. Get all those things selected again. Just little things, you know. So I'll hit the center. I'll indent it a little bit. There it goes. So now that looks good. All right. So that's the advantage when you have a lot of your numbers all being of the same width. In other words, the same number amount of numerals. Keep in mind also that we're using the Courier font non-proportional, so every character takes up the same amount of width. They're just as wide as the other, all right? And because of that, all this kind of stuff is always going to be even. If this was in any other font that was a proportional font, you know, this is non-proportional, but proportional font where each one has its own width, this can be off a little bit. So it's nice to have it like that. So that looks good. Now we might want to put some borders in here, so we can actually take this one here, all right, and we click up here and we'll go with a thick bottom border. That looks good. And we can also select this range and again do the thick bottom border and get that look there. We can also make row 1 just a little bit taller, and then go back to here and make this go vertically centered, right? So it's called middle align, and that just kind of pulls it up a little bit and gives a little bit better visual there. That looks good. Now we can also kind of exaggerate the borders here a little bit, make them a little bit thicker just for this area here. So if I go ahead and I select from here all the way to the bottom. Now this is a little tricky, but it's easy to do. I'm not going to do this bordering here. What I'm going to do is go into the dialog box. That brings this up here. Go to my border. Tell it I just want, you know, the thin lines. I want the color, maybe like this color here. All right. And now with the area that I've got selected, the top of it has that darker, you know, border, the thicker border. That's what you're seeing there. What I want to tell it is that I want all the rows to have that border that we have here on them. So what I do is I go to this middle one right here, and I can either click on the button there or just click somewhere in here, and I'll get that one in there, and then I'll do the same thing for the bottom, so it'll put this at the very bottom one as well. See? And once you've done that, we go ahead and hit OK, and there we go. Click away from it. Not too bad. Now the other thing we might want to do is just make the percentage change kind of stand out a little bit more. So what we can do is we can maybe select this one here, hold down the control key. This way we can do a lot faster. We can just select all of them at once and then apply the format one time. See, and it just does it to all of them. So we'll go to here, go over to our fill here, and we can find a color that we want to go with. Now I had in the sample, we did kind of a blue, something like that. You can do that as well. But you can pick any other color too. So let's say we want to go yellow instead. I can pick that, and there we go. And then while they're also selected, I can also, and I don't have this in the sample that I had there, but I can also go to the border here and tell it that I want to put a left border on there, and I want to go back in there again and put a right border. See, so by doing I've got these separately selected, so when I said left border and then right border, it does left border, right border, left border, right border, see, because it's a separate selection. Click away from it, and there we go. Now once you've gotten done with this, you're set and ready to go. Now a lot of people, when they put stuff like this together, they might want to maybe send it to somebody, maybe send it to somebody via email, but not really have to send them the whole file, but rather just maybe a picture of this, right? So let me show you something with emailing this, okay? if we were to take this selection right here, right click it and hit copy, all right? And then we're going to go into our email system. So I'm just going to go into my my Outlook system here. And I'll just kind of, well, I'm not going to show you the screener, but what I'll do here is I'm going to tell it I want to do a new email, all right? So we'll end up getting this, all right? So what you've done so far is you've put that worksheet selection into memory, and now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and set this thing up so where we can you know, paste it in there. So all we have to do now is go over and paste it in. Now, a few ways you can do this, but probably the best way would be, you know, maybe you typed up, you know, some information here, blah, 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 and now you want to put the worksheet there, right? So we go over here to the paste area, right? And what you could do is just paste it as a picture, which would be this thing right here. So if you do that, then that's what you're going to get, see? So that's one way you can do it. Now I'm going to hit undo. And that's so you paint it as a picture. That's probably the easiest way to do it, I guess. I'm thinking about the other way you can do it. That's probably the easiest way you're going to do it on that one. So I'll just put it back in there again. Okay, so now once you've done that, you address it, send it off to whoever you're sending it off to, and when they get it, it's going to come in just like that. Perfect. Okay, as long as you bring it in as a picture. Now I'm going to close that up. All right, now the other thing that you might think about doing is maybe putting that same thing into a PowerPoint presentation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to launch into PowerPoint. All right, so I'll launch in there. Oh. All right, and then we'll go ahead and just do a blank presentation there. There it is. And then what I can do, I'll go in here and change the layout here a little bit. All right, so anyway, so on this one, we're going to just I'll make it a title only here. Okay, so what you do from this point is we would just do either a right click, and you can go ahead and paste it in like that. And then you can take that and you know, work with it. You can resize this if you wanted to, and move it down a little bit like that. There would be that one. Now that's one way. I'm going to delete that now. The other way would be you go over here to paste. All right, go to paste special, and what you can do is you can click on the paste link. All right, by doing a paste link, what would happen is you'd put it in, you know, pretty much the same way. You can resize it, do whatever you need to do. But what's cool about this is that if you go back later on and change anything in Excel, you know, this particular file in Excel, this will automatically update. So you got a true link with this here. So it works out pretty nice. So that's all I wanted to show you on that. So I'm going to close that up. And we're back there again. I can just hit my escape key to get rid of those ants there. All right, so that's it. So hopefully this helps. I know we had a kind of an extravagant calculation there as well that you've learned. So hopefully maybe you can use that too in some of your worksheets. I appreciate you watching the video. Take care.